Chapter 5. The Frequency of God. Suchness. Have you ever wondered, what if heaven was never a place you go after death? What if Nirvana was never somewhere else? What if the greatest spiritual secret is this? You have never left it. The world itself is already perfect in its own nature. Life unfolds according to a deeper intelligence, a deeper order, a deeper harmony. Yet every human being sees the world through a different lens, through memories, through beliefs, through judgments, through expectations. And this is where suffering begins. Reality itself is not the problem. The problem appears when reality does not match the story in our minds, when life refuses to become what we think it should be, when the present moment conflicts with our expectations. Suffering arises, not because life is broken, but because perception is divided. The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Suffering exists. The cause of suffering exists. The end of suffering exists. And the path exists. But perhaps all four truths are already present within this very moment. The difference lies only in seeing. When reality is filtered through ego, suffering appears. When reality is seen exactly as it is, peace appears. The world has not changed, only perception has changed. Even the ego is not a mistake. Even confusion serves a purpose. Even darkness has its role. For without losing ourselves, how would we ever discover who we truly are? Without the experience of separation, how would we recognize unity? In the book of Exodus, Moses asks God, "What is your name?" And God replies, "I am that I am, not, I was, not, I will be, but I am, pure presence, pure being, timeless existence." Perhaps this was never merely a name. Perhaps it was the deepest description of reality itself. The divine exists only now. Life exists only now. Awareness exists only now. The Psalms say, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still. Not because silence creates God, but because silence reveals what was already here. When thought becomes quiet, when judgment falls away, when the search finally ends, the presence that was always here begins to shine. When nothing is happening, awareness naturally expresses itself as clarity, stillness, purity. When action is needed, awareness naturally expresses itself as carefulness, attention, observation. This is not something we create. It is something we uncover. Just as the sun does not need to be created when the clouds disappear. It was shining all along. Imagine a mirror covered in dust. You do not create the reflection. You simply remove what obscures it. And suddenly, the entire sky appears. When perception becomes clear, life feels completely different. The sound of a bird is no longer just a bird. It becomes a living miracle of sound. A cup of tea is no longer merely tea. It becomes existence itself expressing through taste. Every moment feels new. Every moment feels alive. Every moment becomes sacred. This is why Jesus said, "Unless you become like little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven." A child does not live through concepts. A child does not live through labels. A child meets reality directly, with wonder, with innocence, with presence. Perhaps heaven is not a place. Perhaps Nirvana is not a destination. Perhaps the Pure Land is not somewhere far away. Perhaps they are different names for the same reality. A mind free from division. A mind free from resistance. A mind fully present with what is. And perhaps the greatest spiritual secret is this. You do not need to reach God. You do not need to find heaven. You do not need to create enlightenment. You only need to see clearly. Because what you have been searching for has never been absent. It has always been here, waiting patiently to be recognized right now. In this very moment, I am